We have this one idea of what an introvert is, but what if that's not the whole story? Today, we're going to look at 8 signs of a very specific subtype called the thinking introvert, and you might find it completely changes how you see yourself or even the quiet people in your life.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been called an introvert, but the label just didn't quite click? Maybe you don't actually hate parties, and you're not shy, but you still feel like the outside world just drains your battery. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you're in the right place. All right, to really get what I think an introvert is, we first have to kind of tear down the old stereotype. It's a picture that's been painted for a long time, and honestly, it's missing a lot of the details.
Okay, so you know the classic stereotype, right? Someone who's always quiet, would rather do anything than go to a party, and can seem kind of antisocial. But that's such a narrow view. A different kind of introvert, the one we're talking about, doesn't necessarily run from social events. The real difference is that they put a way higher value on inner reflection. See, it's not about being against people, it's about being for the rich, interesting company of their own thoughts.
And that right there, that preference for an internal life brings us to the absolute core of all this. We're not just talking about any introvert. We're zeroing in on a specific type, one with an incredibly rich inner world. So let's give it a name.
This is the thinking introvert. And the key word here, the most important word, is preference. It is not an inability. It's not that they can't socialize. It's that they are just naturally pulled towards this amazing, complex, internal world of deep thought. That's their home turf.
And these 3 words, they aren't just descriptions. They're 3 more huge signs. Thinking introverts are introspective, always looking inward for answers. They're thoughtful, really digging deep into ideas. And they're self-reflective, constantly analyzing themselves and where they fit in the world. It's just their default setting.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Their energy goes inward, not because the outside world is a scary place, but because their inner world is just so darn fascinating. It's a playground of imagination, creativity, and endless things to explore.
So, you might be wondering what's actually happening in the brain to make someone this way. Well, it turns out it's not just some personality quirk. There's a real neurological reason for this. Let's dive into the science.
So is there something physically different going on inside the brain of a thinking introvert? The research points to a pretty fascinating yes.
And here it is. Get this. Studies show that these introverts have increased blood flow in their frontal lobes. A key part of their brain is literally more active, even when they're just resting. But what does that part of the brain even do?
Well, think of the frontal lobes as the brain's main control center, the CEO of the whole operation. They handle all the heavy lifting, the complex stuff like planning for the future and working through tough problems. So if you've got more blood flow, more energy going to that area, it makes perfect sense that you'd be hardwired for exactly those activities.
So we have the definition, we've looked at the science. Now what? Let's bring it all back home. What does this new way of looking at introversion actually mean for you?
If there is one thing you take away today, please let it be this. Introversion is not a monolith. It's a huge spectrum. It's not just about how you act at a party. It's about where you get your energy from and where your mind just absolutely loves to go. So let's wrap this up with a quick recap of those 8 signs. First, you don't automatically avoid social events. 2, you consistently prioritize time for inner reflection. 3, you often just prefer being with your own thoughts. 4, you feel a really strong pull towards your vivid internal world. Then you've got the big 3, being highly introspective, deeply thoughtful, and constantly self-reflective. And the last one, number 8, you genuinely enjoy spending time in your own rich imagination.
Once you start seeing the complexity in introversion, it naturally leads to a bigger question. What other personality traits do we just totally oversimplify? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.